J-Dub, come on down. You're the next contestant on The Price is Raw.
This episode sucked. Okay, hey, what's up, people? J-Dub here. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and click that yellow button over there. Thanks. Gonna start talking about this episode of Monday Night Raw with Bob Barker as a celebrity guest host. Yeah, like I said, this episode, it pretty much sucked. The first segment of the show, absolutely great. You had Bob Barker, you had different contestants down there, and they're bidding on the SmackDown 10th anniversary DVD. That was absolutely great. You had Bob Barker. He basically hold the hell out of Chris Jericho. They're going back and forth with each other on the mic. Bob Barker hold Chris Jericho. He just totally trashed him, and it probably wasn't even intentional. Yeah, let's talk about how this episode built up to Breaking Point. Seeing as Raw is the main show, or at least WWE still considers Raw the main show. The fans, we basically know that SmackDown took over that title a long time ago, months ago. But WWE still considers Raw the main show, so this was supposed to serve as the go-home show for the WWE Breaking Point pay-per-view. The first Breaking Point pay-per-view ever. I don't feel that this episode built up to that pay-per-view correctly. If you could tell at the at the end of this episode, it went till about 11:13 or 11:14, 15, somewhere around that. That's maybe 8 or so minutes more than the shows usually go, because it was comedy throughout the whole night. And Bob Barker, like I said, the first segment was great, but he was old after that. Hell, he was old before, but still, he was annoying after that point. And I'm thinking that, one question that I have to ask, what the hell is people's obsession with Bob Barker? Because I'm thinking to myself, people are genuinely excited about him hosting Raw. I'm thinking to myself, we're gonna have these corny ass skits, come on down, and all of that crazy stuff, and people were genuinely excited about Bob Barker coming on. So I want to know, what the hell is people's obsession with Bob Barker? I'm thinking that WWE, they probably gave him this whole show because they did interviews with him, so he talked about his charities and everything. He was pimping everything out. And this may have just been a tribute, or a tip of the hat to Bob Barker, because Vince McMahon, he may respect Bob Barker a lot. That's why he gave him the 2 hours to host Raw, because other than that, I can't see the upside to this at all. So it did not build up to the pay-per-view well. They should have closed out the show with this is the best case scenario in what we're given. They should have closed out the show with DX and Legacy, in their little fight and everything, because it seemed like Randy Orton and John Cena, that whole confrontation was just thrown together. With the whole DX thing, I'm thinking that was going to close out the show, and I'm saying to myself, you wouldn't, judging by this, you wouldn't even know that there was a WWE Championship match with two of the biggest stars in your whole company. But then, Randy Orton is in the ring, John Cena runs down to the ring after him, and, they have a confrontation and everything, and Randy Orton RKO's John Cena on a steel chair. You know what? I like that better when I saw it 2 years ago, at Saturday Night Main Event. This one, it was pretty weak, and it didn't build up. This episode didn't build up to the pay-per-view at all. We did have a couple of great matches, though. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, with John Cena winning by disqualification because Randy Orton interfered. Now, you John Cena criticizers, you tell me if he used just 5 moves in that match, because I'm for damn sure that he used a lot more than 5 moves in that match. And also, another pretty good match we had was MVP versus Chris Jericho, with MVP getting the win. Those were the only bright lights in this episode of Raw. It was pretty uneventful, and didn't build up to the pay-per-view well. One thing that I am excited about, now that this episode is over, next week, 9/14/09, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Trish Stratus, the legendary Trish Stratus, makes her return. She will be the celebrity guest host. What I want Trish Stratus to do next week, she has to have some interaction with the divas. She absolutely has to, because she's one of the top divas, if not the #1 diva of all time. I want her to just walk in the diva locker room, look around, and I told my people on Blog TV this last week, just walk in there and look at them all and just say, You bitches are all a disgrace. I am ashamed of you. Like, you use what I build, the momentum that I give you guys, the prestige that I put in the WWE Divas division, and what the hell do you do with it? Nothing at all. You know, I'm not too sure that she's gonna just go in there calling them bitches and everything, but hopefully they do something like that with Trish Stratus where they have her motivate the Divas. You know, this could be the turning point in the Divas division, and I'm hoping that they do something like this because, I mean, like I said, they have to do something with her and the Divas. You know, hell, maybe even she'll jump in the ring, you know. So, yeah, I'm going to end this video right there. Pretty, you know, whatever episode of Raw. Bob Barker, good in the beginning. He got annoying later on, but yeah, I still tip my hat to Bob Barker. He is a TV legend. So yeah, give me your thoughts on this episode, and peace out.